I'll reiterate what I wrote in the release, that it's a privilege, not a right, to be a member of this football team and to be a member of the University of Tennessee football team. And I am disappointed and embarrassed in many ways on the lapses of judgment by several members of our football team last night. And there were numerous lapses of judgment. And what's important to know is that our standard of conduct is much greater than what the legal standard is. And so I've met with every player who was there, and I've made a few decisions on some things that have in no way any bearing on the legal part of it. And I think that's important to know that we have dismissed Darren Miles from our football team. We have indefinitely suspended Marlon Walls and Greg King. And there's other actions that were taken internally. And there's also a period where we're continuing to find out exactly what happened, just like everybody else, because as you know, it takes time to gather all the information from all the parties involved. What is important is to know that just because I have suspended somebody doesn't necessarily mean they broke the law. It's no different than any day-to-day issue where we deal with discipline and behavioral issues. What I will say is that there's been a lot of positive things happening in our program in the last few months, and a lot of positive changes in our culture internally with some of our players, with our team, and we're not going to let this incident ruin the positive changes that are happening. We're going to continue to build our structures so that we educate, we discipline, we support our players, and at the end of the day, we're going to have a culture here that's not just going to win, but our fans will be proud of how we represent them. So at the end of the day, I'm disappointed, like we all are, and I'm embarrassed, like many of us, and like many of our fans. And we're going to take action, and we're going to be swift about it, and then we're going to move on. Our team wants to change our brand and how we represent this place, and that we just really set us back. You know, it's no different than your character. I mean, you could spend 20 years building your character, and one bad mistake, you can destroy it. So we got to start over and rebuild, and we'll do that. And we got a lot of great leaders on this team who are really disappointed, and some of the other guys on the team, and I expect them to all rally and handle it the right way. When you find yourself in a sticky situation, there's a lot of ways you can go. And understanding what the consequences are when you go a certain way, that's the educational component. And that's the component, you know, Andre, we're creating this Vol for Life program. And it's essentially about turning pro, not NFL, VFL. Everybody has to be a Vol for Life. And it's centered around several components, and one of them is character education, and that's what we're talking about here. Educating on them on the importance of character, right and wrong, and we're going to continue to do that, and we're still shaping that program. And then there's other components that go into life skills and career development and that sort of thing. But that's a critical part of the program, and it goes to the educational component. It hurts our team. You know, a lot of people get hurt when you do things that aren't right. And it's not just Darren who's hurt. I had to sit there and watch his mother cry, who's hurt. And his family is hurt. I know his father's hurt. And I know his hometown is probably disappointed. Our team is hurt. He's got a lot of friends on our team. We're going to be hurt by it on the field competitively. So a lot of people are hurt by it. And that's what makes the decisions tough. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to fall really hard to really get it. And we want to be able to change everybody, but I think the reality is, and we've seen it, I mean, there's been a lot of headlines here in a lot of areas where sometimes you got to really hit really hard to be able to figure it out. I know when you're charged with something, that doesn't necessarily, you know, you mean you've done something terrible. And I know when you're not charged with something, you could do something really not good from a judgment standpoint. And so I'm always going to navigate it with that standard in mind of what's right and wrong. And the guys that didn't do what's right are going to have to take some consequences. And the consequences that they take are all going to be relative to their lapse in judgment and how wrong they were and what the damage that was done. And so it does appear odd, I guess, when you see it, but I can only go by my initial conversations with the players, and they were very forthcoming and as I expected them to be, and hopefully humbled in many ways. Hopefully the next time we'll be in front of you, it'll be a little better news.